Well, as promised, back to one of our main stories today. The Black People's National Crisis Committee protests against the removal of beachgoers at the Clifton Beach in Cape Town. Parliament's Portfolio Committee on Environmental Affairs says it will summon the City of Cape Town and the Professional Protection Alternatives Security Company over the alleged removal of beachgoers from Clifton's Beach on Sunday. Now, for more on the story, across live to the Minister of Environmental Affairs, Nomvula Mokonyane. Minister, thank you very much indeed for your time. Always a pleasure having you on the program. Off the bat, let's get some quick facts out of the way. For those of us who have not been following this story, South Africa has, a 3,000-kilometer coastline, and there are no private beaches, yes. Correct?
Correct. The 3,000-kilometer coastline is not owned by any single individual or any community. It belongs to the public, and everybody, black and white, has a right to have access to that. And secondly, we also have an obligation as South Africans to make sure that whilst we use these public facilities, we maintain the environmental standards, and we do not also impose what is a preference of a minority or a certain group because of their own proximity to these facilities, like it happened, the imposition of the private security company, because the enforcement of bylaws rests with the City of Cape Town. And it is that is acting in line with the Integrated Coastal Management Act of 2008. We have to probe now what the Residents Association has done, because yes, they might have been saying they're dealing with the drug trafficking that is happening in the area, but the manner in which the operation was carried without the collaboration with the Metro Police nor with the South African Police Services, and how they targeted individuals, it was very discriminatory. We also urge those who are demonstrating against what happened at Clifton to act within the rights and the constitution of this country, but also to minimize the risks of exposure to possible invasion again of our coastal line by your sharks once they can actually pick up the smell of blood in the area. There are designated places. Those places must be the ones that are used for any other activity. But of importance, it is unacceptable. South Africa belongs to all those who live in it. The entire coastline is a coastline that every South African has got access to.
Yes.
We have already communicated with the Office of the Mayor to get the responses on a few questions that we have raised with them.
What sort of responses have you got?
We've communicated, we are awaiting the response. Our officials have been able to communicate that they were not party in the implementation of this operation that has led to this challenge. And secondly, the Residents Association has allegedly responded by saying they brought in the private security company because they wanted to deal with drug use that happens at Clifton Beach. And we do believe also that the city itself has to make sure, therefore, that as we prepare for the festive season where people come in numbers, we have to learn from other provinces where there is collaboration and cooperation with community-based organizations, with tourism agencies, and even making sure that there are tour guides who can then be able to explain to people the do's and don'ts. We hope that the City of Cape Town will be able to respond to such issues.
Minister, under what circumstances may a beach be closed and by whom?
The only time where a beach can be closed is when it poses a risk to people, to society, or where there is a possible natural disaster, and or where there has been some security breach that has been identified, and it can only be done by the authorities as designated by the Minister of Environmental Affairs. So no private security, no resident association can do that. It has to be the designated, and the designated authority in this instance is the municipality.
In terms of the sacrificing of an animal on the beach or near the beach, is that allowed?
Look, You have to seek permission in terms of environmental health from every municipality, and every municipality has got a bylaw to deal with that. And as I have said, in all our beaches, there are designated areas for braais and all those things. How you then execute the ritual that was allegedly done yesterday, that should have been done in consultation with the city and ensuring therefore that it does not pose a risk, as I have indicated about the blood and the possible agitation that would come then from those that live in the water, like your sharks, following the blood where it is. So we are told that all that was removed after the ritual was done, and it will be important, because we know the organizers, that we continue through the city to raise awareness, educate our communities, so that then we respect cultural diversity, but also we protect our environment.
Yeah, you know, I was watching an interview with the City of Cape Town Mayor Dan Plato yesterday, and he initially said that it wasn't allowed. Could the people that performed this sacrifice, could they face charges?
There has to be environmental health bylaws. If the city doesn't have those environmental health bylaws on the beaches, it has to deal with it so that then people cannot actually transgress. Secondly, I do not believe that it rests upon the city to just unilaterally decide, therefore, to charge anyone, because the city would have been wrong having known that this was going to happen in any protest, even an unplanned illegal protest. Every municipality has a responsibility to caution those that are protesting as to what needs to be done. We need to make sure that there's good, effective governance, and there's integration, there's tolerance, and most importantly, we open up the beaches without any form of discrimination or undermining access for any individual.
Minister, you've been a politician for a long time. You've interacted with people across the country. Let's look at the broader issues. Let's look at race relations, not only in Cape Town, but the rest of the country. Does this incident at the Clifton for the beach, does it talk to the bigger issues of racial injustices that the country is currently grappling with?
Our journey towards a non-racial South Africa is a protracted one. And I think all these spontaneous reactions are a resemblance of the intolerance that our people are reaching, but also the arrogance of some who would want to use their strength in terms of property, in terms of wealth, in terms of access, to undermine the rights of other individuals. We need to deal with this matter, because even that private security company did not actually target any white tourist who was on that particular site. They were actually targeting blacks. Nobody can actually say it was a black on black. We know that many black on black violences are actually instigated by other people of color. We need to do away with that.
But according
and that's what is quite important even with this experience.
Minister, according to the City of Cape Town Mayor Dan Plato yesterday, he says that not only were black people removed, but also white as well as colored people. Is that one of the questions that you put to the city in terms of finalizing the investigations around this matter?
Look, whatever that we're saying, and hence we have written to them, they need to give an explanation. And the right people who must give the explanations on all these things as to what happened against what has been projected and has agitated communities. It has to be both the Clifton Residents Association together with the City of Cape Town. And hence, as I've said to you, Blade, that we'll await the response from them. But any connotation, including the drama yesterday, where there was confrontation of individuals across racial lines, but also on the protest side where you saw a non-racial a group of individuals. It's also a demonstration that not everybody who's white in South Africa is a racist. None of us are born being racist, including us Africans. And what we definitely need to do is to avoid these little things that cause an irritation.
If we go by what the City of Cape Town mayor says with regards to who was removed from the beach, do you think this boils down to race issues or class issues or a bit of both?
It's a combination of many things. It has to do with race, class. It also has to do with the issues of gender. I mean, what we saw also yesterday with those women who were confronting each other and others being confronted and the insults. It's just unacceptable. So any form of discrimination has been seen through this action that has been unfolding at Clifton. We hope those that are going to go there this afternoon will adhere to the rules of the city and make sure that whatever that they are doing, it must just be a sign of protest without undermining the preservation of the environment as well as the participation and presence of other racial groups and other individuals that are there. We must deal with this demon of racism in South Africa that continues to rear its head.
Yeah, no doubt. I guess these incidences affords us an opportunity to not sweep it under the carpet, but bring it out to the fore and discuss these pertinent issues, isn't it?
We have to. One of the things that we've always been pushing is about cultural diversity, tolerance, and most importantly, nation building. We are as yet to be a nation. One of the indictments is this fact that we are a rainbow nation. A rainbow is multicolored. We must strive towards being one nation. We've seen how Rwanda has been able to unify itself when it has gone through atrocities that they've been exposed to. South Africa needs to move beyond this thing of being comfortable with race, and only when something happens, we all begin to now want to step in and deal with it in all forms, whether it's property rights, whether it's in the economy, whether it's through access to education and health, everything, whether it's even on recreational facilities. We need to avoid this thing. And the challenge is, it is those of us who have been there during the era of apartheid who continue to infest our society with these wrong things. The Integrated Coastal Management Act does say every individual has access, and that should have been just a simple thing. When there are challenges, call the police, call the city, let them enforce the bylaws and deal with those criminals and thugs that are involved in the use of drugs in the beach.
Yeah, we often hear that unity is not an event, it's an ongoing process. So I guess continued conversations will help the situation put pay to alleged incidents like this. Now, I understand that Parliament's Portfolio Committee on Environmental Affairs has some of the City of Cape Town as well as the private security company. What do you know about this?
I have seen the statement of the Portfolio Committee. It is within their authority to can summon anyone, and would all of us observe what would happen and the explanations that would have been given. But I'm sure by that time, we would have, from our side as DEA, we would have received the response that comes from the City of Cape Town. Because as we speak now, our officials are talking to the officials in the City of Cape Town on going forward and dealing with these issues, because we still have a long festive season ahead of us, and we can't afford to be also causing unnecessary irritation on tourism, on growing the economy, and also attracting people not on the basis of protest, but on the basis of them enjoying what South Africa can show and give to them.
Yeah, indeed, we can't afford for these tensions to continue into the new year. Have you set a deadline by where you are saying that you need answers by this certain date?
I think by Monday we'll have a response, because already they've met yesterday, they've been speaking today, and there's work that is proceeding. And before the end of business today, the Director General of the department will give me an update.
Okay, when you get those answers, you're more than welcome to come back on the agenda and brief us. Thank you very much indeed for your time, Minister.
I promise to do that, Blade.
Thank you very much.